What's up, guys? It's Captain Rex Production 72 back with a review on a theme that I have never touched on this channel once. I don't even know if I've mentioned it. But this is set 4181 Isla de Muerta. I probably said that wrong. From Pirates of the Caribbean. This is from the first movie. This set released all the way back in 2011. And at the time of recording this, with the upcoming big Lego's huge model of the Jack Sparrow ship, or Black Pearl, whatever you want to call it. I'm not too sure what name Lego's going with on that one. But anyway, with that coming up in about a month or so, I thought this was the opportune time to get a review of this set out. And this is a pretty cool set. Excluding all the poly bags, this was the smallest set of the original run of the theme in 2011, because I'll say this here since it's the first of the reviews. Yeah, the wave in 2011 consisting of 14 sets. And then we got the Silent Mary in 2017, and that was it. 2017 was obviously the last movie, and, you know, it's kind of cool we're getting that, you know, big Black Pearl, which hopefully kind of leads to, like, a resurrection of the theme. Kind of like how Lego Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit kind of got that going for them with Lego ideas. But we're here to look at this 2011 set, which I just opened, actually brand new on stream a little while ago. And, you know, it's a very different unboxing experience. I'll flash up on the screen here, but this is the bags it came in. The minifigure parts were spread out through 3 bags. You know, Hector Barbosa's skeleton head was in one bag with no other figure parts. The bodies were in a separate bag. The legs and heads were together. It was crazy the way it was done. And the thing that I found kind of nuts, especially, was in this set, you got a bit of cardboard backing, which, weirdly enough, has a number on it that you can see. 4649888. So I wonder if anybody in the comments knows what that might mean. I actually don't. But anyway, you also get a cool poster that is included with this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and I'll show it to you here as best I can. But I'm most likely, yeah, I'm probably going to just flash up a picture of it on screen. But yeah, we have that. So it's a pretty cool set. It depicts the end of the first movie where Barbosa and Jack have their fight. And something I always thought was kind of funny about this is, yes, Elizabeth Swann is about in those scenes, but I genuinely thought that they would have used Will Turner, because he's there, you know, he does the thing where he cuts his hand, drops the Aztec gold into the chest, and after they shoot Barbosa. And so, yeah, they've taken him out for that reason. I think instead they wanted to throw in the skeleton for Hector. But anyway, let's get into the minifigure, because this is a pretty cool thing. But first, of course, we'll show off the box first. So you have the boxes. This is a really nice box, one of those kind of classic boxes. You see poster inside, really nice kind of art in the back, really works quite well. You've got Jack Sparrow up there with the Disney logo. It's a nice kind of blue colour, got that kind of map edge around the minifigures that you see there. Elizabeth Turner, Jack Sparrow, Hector Barbosa, and Skeleton Barbosa. We've got this thing for Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, the video game, which came out that year, which is a pretty cool game. The one-to-one minifigure is Elizabeth Swann. Turn around, we're going to got this lighter kind of theme going with the box, showing you the features, what it does. And yeah, so let's jump into the minifigures going in order of the box. And here we have the first minifigure, which is Elizabeth Swann. So of course she's wearing the red outfit that Captain Barbosa makes her wear while they're on the Black Pearl. Kind of right before the dinner scene that happens, you know, showing off all the kind of ghosts and stuff. Pretty cool looking minifigure. Got that kind of lore piece that a lot of minifigures kind of use, something similar to this now. Back then it was just a normal brick. Got that nice kind of red hair there with her kind of, that's a more content kind of facial expression. And if we switch it, it looks like this. This is her more kind of frightened, kind of scared face. She, unlike the other 3 minifigures, does not have an accessory to go with her. But I suppose you could pick up one of the gold kind of medallions, or Aztec gold, whatever you want to call it, and throw that in with the minifigure. Now, let's get on to the man himself. And here we have the man himself, Captain Jack Sparrow. Or as he repeats himself, it's Captain Jack Sparrow. Anyway, he has his sword and his compass, which is pretty cool. I didn't actually realise those were in these sets. And he's got a nice looking minifigure. This is, for the most part, very similar to the most basic one that you got throughout the theme back in the day. Really, really nice looking minifigure indeed. Got that brilliant kind of hairpiece or combo with the bandana. Always looks really good. And it's got a basic sword. Now, in this scene in the movie, of course, the moonlight reveals, you know, the curse, who they truly are. And with this minifigure, unlike Hector, who has the skeleton double, what they do with this minifigure is pretty cool. So he has his regular kind of smug kind of facial expression there. Well, check this. He has that skeleton face for when he's kind of sort of, Hector tries to stab him, and he's like, kind of like, oh, I couldn't help myself, mate. You know, is what he says, something like that. And he's also got the curse as well, which is pretty cool to do that, so that you have the versatility. So I don't think Lego would have included a 5th minifigure, and I don't think they'd have swapped out Elizabeth Turner for a skeleton Sparrow. At least I don't think they would have. But it's a pretty cool minifigure nonetheless. One of my favourite minifigures from the theme. So let's check out the next minifigure, which is Captain Hector Barbosa. And up next we have Hector Barbosa. And this is pretty cool. He's got that apple which he holds in quite a funny way. He holds it like this kind of stem piece, but I suppose it's Lego apple. I actually, for some reason, thought there would be a stud in the bottom of that, but there's not. It has a really nice hat. The feather piece is its own separate thing, and it sticks in a hole in the hat, kind of like how a lot of the female hair pieces back in the day had that little hole for like tiaras and crowns and stuff. Now, he has something pretty cool that the skeleton has as well. He has this special bit on, and I'm going to take him off to show you guys. So he has this bit, and essentially, it's like a satchel. At first, it made me think of what the Indiana Jones minifigure wears, right? And by the way, let's admire the wonderful printing job they did on this minifigure. But basically, it's a holster for the sword, which can be removed, and, you know, of course, you can take it out and place it in his hand, which is pretty cool. And he will also have another facial. Actually, no, this figure, silly me. He doesn't, because he doesn't have a head, hat, hair kind of combo piece. So you get one basic facial expression, but that's Hector Barbosa. Now, let's take a look at his skeleton form. And here we have Skeleton Barbosa. Pretty cool looking minifigure here. It's your typical kind of skeleton minifigure, but with his face printing on it. It's got the hat, the apple, the sword as well. Kind of what I showed you earlier. I'm not going to show it again. But yeah, it's pretty cool that they give you this option rather than, you know, I don't know, maybe today, rather than doing this, they would maybe just print like the skeleton bones onto the torso. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of doing a big version of this scene, because it's one of the more iconic scenes, you know. He has them doing like the ritual and it fails. I don't know. Enough on that, but let's get on to the build, because the build on this one's pretty cool and has a pretty cool feature, as you can kind of see from the box behind. But those are the minifigures. Again, like I said, Will Turner maybe should have been included rather than I would have taken Will Turner over the Skeleton Barbosa, perhaps, but I don't know. That's just me. So here we have the 3 main builds you get, right? And what's pretty cool is you get that molded boat piece, which is always welcome. So you get the actual main island, Isle de Muerta. It's a weird thing to say, right? Isle de Muerta, right? I don't know how you actually say it, right? It's a bit confusing to me. You get the main chest, which has the Aztec gold in it, and of course you get this molded boat, which is pretty cool. Obviously, there's bits that go onto the mold, but I like that because it's very retro Lego Pirates. So we're going to take a look at the boat first. Coming over here with the boat, it's pretty cool. You get 2, you know, rowers for the boat. It's a nice kind of lantern that you build additional to the boat. And, you know, you could probably take the minifigures like so. So I'm going to take... we can put Elizabeth Swan here just on the back of it. We can take Jack Sparrow. Now I'm going to take off his compass and his sword, like so, and get him in there. And like so, you can have Jack, of course, I probably should swap his face back, but you can have him rowing the boat like so over to the island, which is pretty cool. Let's move on to the chest. And here we have the chest. So, got a little bit of gold ingot there. You got old studs. You got one of those kind of crystals, like power miner type things. And you lift this off, and it's got the old school Lego coins. There is 10 of those in there. And, you know, you can put a minifigure on the side. So, take Elizabeth Swan, just put her on there. For the brief scene, you know, you could have Barbosa there when they're about to cut into her to do it, and then it doesn't work, and they realise, oh yeah, she's not actually related to Bootstrap Bill. So, you can have that. Pretty cool scene there. Yeah, it works out quite well. The little bits of gold, I'll just take one of those out. And apparently, I'll take them all out. I'll put these excess ones back in there, like so. And of course, this is what you get. It's very, very basic. It just says 10 on it there, so I don't know, £10, $10, I don't know. And you know, you can close that right back up for when they're not doing anything with it, which is pretty cool. Lid's just brick built. If I want to take the minifigure back a stud for that to work. Works out pretty well. So those are like the two kind of small side builds you get. Keep in mind, this was a £20 set. This was $19.99 in the UK back in 2011. I feel like this is very decent for the price, especially getting a molded boat. But let's take a look at the main build. And here is the main build, which is pretty cool. So this has one main function, and well, that's a secondary one, but it has one main function, right? And we'll work up to that. So coming along here is kind of like to make that kind of cavern bit. You got this Lego dagger kind of piece forming as a rock. Got some cups, got some gold, because you know it's kind of like where they stash all their kind of, you know, loot. Got a nice diamond there, and it looks alright from both angles. Of course, you can see more of the technique bit, but you have this bit here to move that around like so. So you can have it blocking there if you wanted to trap people inside, kind of thing. Works out quite well for that. I suppose if you really wanted to, the boat kinda can work going through there. It's, I mean, it's alright. Don't know if that's how I'll personally display it, but kind of this in the middle, because it's kind of like the middle area to that. You know, you'd have the ocean and the rocks kind of build up to where, if I take the boat off, you can probably see better. But you know, you'd have all the ocean kind of water around here, well, stream, and it kind of builds up. You've got all the coins and stuff. That's where they have the kind of main interaction. But if you look here, so this is the main feature of probably the entire set, is to mimic the parts of the fight where they go through the kind of moonlight that's been shined into the cave through the holes, and they go from skeleton to people from skeleton. So on this side you'd have Hector Barbosa, and he's kind of fighting on this end of the rocks, that part of the cave. And you know, you can have grab Jack Sparrow here, give him back his sword and his compass. Just quickly going to do that. So you know, you can have them having their epic fight, and you know, the moonlight shines in, and you just turn it around like so. And of course, he then switches to being skill, and you know, dropping him is clearly an integral part of what you're meant to do. But he can then become the skeletal version of Hector, and you know, it goes pretty well. I like it a lot for having that feature. So you know, have it like that, and it's just simple. You just twist and turn it around. But that's kind of like the main feature of the set. And of course, you can have Elizabeth there, even though I still think it should be Will Turner. I suppose he was in other sets. You can have her there, and you have the kind of boat just sitting at the side, and that is more or less your scene. And again, say you want to have your own kind of story and trap them, well, that can fall like that, and then there's no way out, which is pretty cool. And you know, this is the set. That is Isla de Muerta. Again, Muerta. I'm not sure. Someone give me the correct pronunciation of this word, because you know, that to me is a confusing. Isla de Muerta. Isla de Muerta. That's probably how you say it. Anyway, let's get on to those instructions. And here's the instructions. And because, of course, it's 2011, we still get nice, we don't get crappy renders, we get nice instruction manual art. So it's pretty much a standard kind of build. You do get these nice parts, like kind of back prints in there, which is nice. I like that, you know, this is something that Lego just won't do. It feels like you're reading a map when you're doing this one. And of course at the back there's some pretty cool stuff to show off, as you know, this is back in the day. So you got these, to my knowledge, right, are the posters that come with the set. And that's kind of cool, you get that. You could also look into this as being the sets themselves, but they look more like posters. I really enjoy that. And of course you get an ad here for Lego Alien Conquest, which came out in 2011. Loads of nostalgia there for me. And of course it's the Lego Pirates of the Caribbean video game, which came out that year. And that's pretty much that. So there we go. First time I've reviewed a Pirates of the Caribbean set, and it won't be the last. I do plan to pick up a few more of these, hence all the new stuff coming, or the new stuff coming out for it. And do I think this set is worth it? 14, almost 15 years after release. Oh yeah, 100%. This is a pretty cool scene. It would be nice if Lego did a diorama of this. I think it would lend itself quite well to that. I really do like this model quite a bit, and you know, it's not perfect. There's characters that could be there or could not be there. But I really do like it. I have quite a bit of fondness for Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. I do plan to pick up some more of the classic sets. I'm actually kind of eyeing one up right now. One of the bigger ones. But yeah, this is a pretty cool set from back in the day. Back when, you know, we got different things for Lego themes. And unfortunately, this theme didn't do too well back in the day. But it's nice that we're getting some stuff for it now in 2025. But yeah. At the time of recording this, we haven't seen the new sets. We've just seen the occasional kind of blurry leaked image. So hopefully maybe by the time this is out, we have full HD images. I'm kind of holding off on this review coming out a week or so because of that. But anyway, I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I will see you guys next time.